Welcome back to Trekyards, everybody. He is the legendary and legacy type person, Commander Cockings.
And he is the world famous, renowned intelligence, the great intelligence, some would say. Obviously under the Great Koala in terms of fame, but a close second. Captain Stuart Reginald Tobias Elwood Foley.
All right, so welcome back to Trekyards. Today we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Lower Decks. Hear all, trust nothing. And we got some legacy characters returning from DS9, which was fantastic to see. We love seeing that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about that today and do some looks at comparisons.
Yes, not just their vibe, but physical appearance, how close they got. Lower Decks, of course, is an animation style with a little bit less detail than when we looked at the Prodigy recreations where they did Uhura and Scotty, and that was really, really interesting to see what they vibed there. But still, a breath of fresh air. We knew DS9 was coming, and certainly I would have put money on these two as being the obvious ones. I probably would have guessed a third as a cameo, as a voice actor, if I was to be a betting man, like, oh, maybe Jake or whatever. But certainly these two are the guys I was expecting. So we just watched the episode, we just reviewed it. How do you think these guys came across then as their triumphant return 25 years later, given none of... I mean, they've done the games a little bit, but not too much. What are your thoughts?
Kira didn't come across as Kira to me. She didn't... At first she didn't sound like Kira, and it took me out of it a little bit. And her character just seemed like a visitor, honestly. So not really Kira vibes. I mean, when she was fighting with Shax a little bit, I got that for sure. But otherwise, it didn't really feel like her. Quark was spot on. From first thing he said, you could tell that I think he had the prosthetic teeth in to kind of help with his speech.
I feel like you'd have to.
But yeah, but the character was sniveling and groveling and just perfect. It was Quark, and I think he was the standout for me in this episode for sure. But it was great to see them both, and I love that she's, in charge of the station. She's still got Cisco's office set up like Cisco's office with the baseball there, waiting for his return, which is awesome. So, yeah, they were both great to see, or hear, if you will. But she did sound older. She did sound different. And yes, it's three years or whatever after the end of the series. She's got a cold and a sore throat right now, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, the caveat of age, 20 years in 3 years. But, yeah, I think both, I assume they filmed in chronological order, dialogue-wise, so they would get into their characters the more they record. I think Armin's first, 3 lines could have been anybody. He got into it real quick. Nana, yeah, it's tricky, because her lines are often defined by very specific traits, right? And a lot of us, her performance is very physical as well, the way she carries her body. If you just remove it to voice and make the dialogue more mundane, about general security stuff on the station, it can sound more like the lady actress because she's not able to put everything together. Same thing with Armin. If he hadn't had the teeth, it would have been just Armin talking. But or at least he was doing this to try and fake it. No, at least that obviously helped his performance. And I bet he was doing stuff with his hands in the booth. It kind of felt like he was kind of being more. So I think he definitely nailed it more. But also he had a harder character to do. As the makeup people often joked, I came in for 2 hours, for 25 minutes, brush your hair and get some, and then he's in there for 3 hours. It's a very different process. But yeah, both were not cameos. That was fantastic. Both had meaningful parts. I love the functionality of Kira's role, which is, of course, she's leader of the station. Of course, she's still talented. Of course, she would take this captain around. Of course, everything was an of course. No stretching, no whatevering. And she's not a politician by any means, so she just stepped back and talked to her old friend and had one joke, which was funny. It was funny. This is when you need more than 24 minutes to get more jokes that are more depthful, because it would have been great for a two-parter, actually. Their first two-parter, imagine if the halfway mark had been the kidnapping, that would have been so close. That's okay. But in terms of character, to make Quark the focus was just such a inspired move, because yes, some might say it's a gimmick. Wow, he brought Armin to... No, that was what happened in the show that he was in all the time. It's just functionally the character. So that is not a gimmick, it's not fan service, it's entirely functional, and it would be sad if they hadn't have made him that important, because he feels like a more cool get, because he's having to do more for the character. So utilise him, and they did.
Yeah, this almost felt like I forget the name of the episode, but where Voyager stopped by DS9
Mm.
before going to
You mean
Badlands.
Caretaker, the first one?
Yeah, yeah. It kind of felt like one of those kind of crossovers,
Yeah.
like, but it felt like a DS9 episode as opposed to a Lower Decks episode, and I thought that was fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, I really got DS9 vibes from this, and I can add this in my headcanon as just another DS9 episode, you know? So that's fine for me, and I really enjoyed it.
I mean, headcanon is in I mean, in your head, but extensions of canon. We haven't got any DS9 lore for a very, very, very long time, and so it's lovely to see they're still the same people even a few years later. And I liked how in Picard they kind of established that Quarks became a franchise, and Lower Decks they kind of showed it as well. Felt a bit gimmicky to me personally, but I love how they sort of broke that down heavily in this. It's like, well, it is a franchise, but he's also lying about why it's good. That's so on brand. That's really clever way of grounding it in the reality of the show. He didn't suddenly become really famous and make loads of money, but no, he stole some advanced replicator tech and he managed to patent it in a way that, and then he went, yeah, that's great. I thought that was such a great way of like redefining the silly reference into a, yep, it's just a, yeah.
Yeah, we found we had 21 franchises across the Alpha Quadrant, so.
And
good
people
to
coming
know.
in taking pictures with him. Of course, it's the original. That's great. He is a celebrity. If we look at the Kira, though, the model, now this is interesting because Kira changed a bit throughout the seasons. She appeared to be sporting her early season haircut. And I will see her late season in a minute. So, I guess post-war she wanted to go back to how she was pre-war. Because it was a distinct choice to make her have this sort of spiky short hair versus her later hair. But here is a comparison with her and the one she's mimicking. Thoughts?
Yeah, I noticed the hair as well, but I mean, she changed her hairstyle quite a bit, so it's fine. It's very natural. Boom, is my thought. Bang on. You got who it was right away, and I think they did a fantastic job with her. So even down to the earring, the uniform, everything was kind of spot on. I love that she's not wearing a Starfleet uniform, even though she was at the end of DS9. So yeah, she's still Colonel Nerys.
Yeah, and this is the outfit I consider her in, if I think of the character. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, spot on like you say. And there's only so much you can do to be a character, and I think they ticked all the boxes that they could do with this sort of character. But the interesting thing then, the next shot, that's the hairstyle she ended DS9 with, which is in theory what she should still be using. So, like I said, they made a conscious choice to do an earlier haircut style. She had a much more straight, wavy hair that was longer, more feminine, you could argue. And that's what she had for the end of her DS9 tenure.
I just want to point out her eyebrows. Look how accurate they got her eyebrows. That's attention to detail right there, man. Exactly the same shape. Good job. Yeah, she changed her hairstyle quite often. I didn't have a problem with the hair being different.
I'm not saying a problem, just saying it wasn't her current hairstyle. It was an older hairstyle. She went back to do an older.
But
they
this
chose
is 3
to
years later. That's a long time, man.
Yeah, but you know, I'm just noting. It's interesting. It wasn't the one she left off with. And then Quark, obviously, we've seen Ferengi, quite a distinct look. They couldn't obviously add as much detail as a bloody real show because that's an insanely detailed mask. But there you go. There's Quark and Quark.
And again, fantastic. He looked more like Quark than Quark. Especially even that shot of him from the side, the profile view, really got the Quark look. And no, I thought it was fantastic, and I love his costume. The multicolored like upholstery fabric they used for those really came through here. So yeah, they did a great job.
I would say the chin's a little bit too pointy, but that's like tiniest of amounts. That's all I could say. No, great. I mean, you know, I think if he was in a line for Ferengi, you wouldn't say he was Quark, but how much further can you possibly go? You know, considering what they have to work with, the limitations of the style, really well done, and they definitely in the body language they definitely got right as well. They put the performance in the performance. Yeah.
And of course, we got a quick shot of Morn at the bar because, of course, we did. So good to see him as well.
I mean, he's still got to be there, Stuart. His tab can never be closed. He'll be in debt for life. Yeah, I mean,
I wish he would. I wish he'd turn around to say something and got interrupted though, and then turn back to his drink. That would have been funny because that's the joke. He talks all the time, but we never hear him talk.
Or even Mariner go up to him at the end and be like, "Hey, man, tell me everything's happened." And he starts, and yeah, no, I love when they have to, animate a thing for a half a second joke. So literally, it's just a pan and he's gone. No, I mean, perfect. I mean, there you go. And he's exactly as talkative, the exact amount of dialogue as any episode. So that is as canon as you can get. The voice actor came back to record 0 lines again. Amazing.
I was just gonna say that he was sitting in the booth. They recorded the silence, laid that over.
Canon accurate silence.
Yeah.
So
anyway, guys,
3.
Yes. So comment down below what you thought about the return of these legacy characters, and we want to hear your thoughts. Obviously, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click the bell notification icon so you get notified when we go live and talk about these kind of things. We love our audience. We love you guys, and we want you to join us and support us in any way you can.
Which there are ways. There's a list of ways that built over the years. Super chatting. During live stream, the direct, they're right there. Hello to us, hello to you. That's how we do it. Or super thanks things on any video and any playlist of any whatever, any amount. It really adds up as well. Or monthly on Patreon or join the channel. Same thing but different platforms. Or buy merch down below if you want to get a shirt with our faces on it.
And on that note, we'll be saying goodbye.
So until then, he's Captain Foley.
Until next time. Yeah, I'm Captain Foley. He's Commander Cockings. And we'll see you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.